Why macOS users are not talking more about the Activity Monitor application that comes free with macOS, I'm not sure. Because if you've ever been shopping for your new Apple computer and you're not really sure how much RAM you need, this is the tool, one of the most important tools to use. So go ahead to your Applications folder and then the Utilities folder, and you'll see the Activity Monitor application. Open that up, and you'll see a tab that says Memory, and then now on the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a little graph. And that graph shows your memory pressure, or the amount of RAM being used actively at the time of using your application. And it has three levels. At green, minimum at green, and you'll see that when you just restart your computer and nothing is running. That means that RAM is being used most efficiently, and you want it to be in green as much as possible. Now it can go into orange. It'll get higher and it'll go into orange, and that, according to Apple, means that you might need more RAM in the future. And keep in mind, all the M series Apple chips have a set amount of RAM that you get when you purchase it, and you can't upgrade later. So if you're seeing that orange of your current computer, it means what Apple's telling you is you need to buy a new computer soon in the future with more RAM. Now, let's say you have a ton of tabs open or a lot of applications going, or you are running a really intensive application. You might be seeing it go into red. And that, according to Apple, means that you're out of RAM and you need to upgrade your computer. So if you're buying a new computer and you want to know exactly how much you need or how too little you have, this is the process you're going to be doing. Run it while, let's say, in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, while your workflow is going as normal. If you see it go into sustained orange and then into red, you know, okay, I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'll need, let's say, the next upgrade step, 32 gigabytes. And that will likely be enough. Now, if you're doing something like 3D rendering that uses a ton of RAM, you might want to just go for the maximum amount to begin with. I'll give an example of my workflow since I'm recording in 8K 60 frames per second RAW, and then encoding it out to, after I'm done editing it, to ProRes HQ, and then finally encoding it before YouTube with Handbrake using SVT AV1 10-bit. When I tried that using the M2 chip with only 18 gigabytes RAM, it peaked into red automatically as soon as I started the process. But now with the M3 Max chip and 36 gigabytes of unified RAM, it's never in the red and only rarely into the orange. So that was a good example of I clearly had way too little RAM. And so what actually happens when you're going to red is you've maxed out the unified memory, and it's actually now swapping the data in between your SSD and the memory. And the memory, for example, is much, much faster. Like the M2 Ultra has a 800 gigabyte bandwidth versus the SSD in the laptop only has about a 6 gigabyte speed. So if it has to swap between those two, you're gonna have a really, really sluggish process. I mean, when I was encoding, it was essentially useless. It started giving like a 48-hour encoding time instead of only, I think, a usual like 30-minute encoding time. So if it's in solid red, you have to use either lower your resolution if you're a video editor or get a new computer.